Hello and welcome to the first official podcast from Off Topic On Point. So basically we're going to be covering the news, I guess, all the kind of big things that have happened th- recently, I guess.
That's what news is, man.
I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm Matt.
Yeah, a senior news correspondent whose fingers on the pulse. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got a Twitter open.
You won't find nothing on there. Right, so, we've got a couple main news stories. We're going to start off with bullet point number one, or story number one, which is the royal engagement. So,
Ugh.
it was announced on Monday that obviously Prince Harry, who's fifth in line to the throne under obviously Prince Charles, Prince William and the two kids, but I think he'll slip to sixth when the new kid's born. So yeah, so fifth in line for the throne. And apparently I think because Prince William is quote unquote a future king, like closer, that's why he got a day off. But rest assured, Brits, we will also be getting a day off simply because the wedding apparently is going to be on Saturday the 26th of May, and that's a spring bank holiday weekend, so on the 28th of May, which is the Monday, we'll be getting that off. So
You mean so like May of 2018, the coming year?
yeah.
Why are they moving so quickly?
um
What's that about?
See, I
He
think
just got engaged, right? That's bought him like 2 years, man. Sit down, relax. Don't
how
worry about it.
how long do you think they've been dating for?
I don't know what. I don't really follow the royal family in the news. I
If you had to throw out
she's
a
got
guess.
a year.
I, I I think so. Something like that. But no, because the past
A
is...
year. Steady on, man. Was it so? What, 2
I,
years and then it's going to get hitched? Oh, God.
I think it's been about a year and a half or something like that. But the thing is, that there's got to have been like a courtship, because the thing with them was that because
Yeah.
I've seen him in the paper a couple times, like smooching and stuff like that, and there was a lot of speculation if they were dating, because she was previously married in 2011. She was married for 2 years and they divorced, and that's like a big thing, I guess, for the royal family, that this woman's already been married. I don't think as much, because I saw him give an interview and they did say that her and the Queen get on like house on fire. But like, I know, because they're throwing around the whole, oh, this is very modern and stuff like that, and I'm not going to bring race into it, but
Well, you are about to, aren't you?
I'm gonna make people aware that when it comes to the royal family, like, yeah, you know what I mean, because like Prince Philip, there's been a couple like slip-ups with him, hasn't there, in the past and stuff like that. So they're coming out and saying, oh yeah, this is very modern, because she, to me, is a lot like Princess...
Don't say Princess Diana.
Why?
Don't say it.
Why?
What a load of crap. Why do we keep on... I'm so sick of this shit. For Christ's sake, Princess Diana has been dead for 20 odd years, and yet she still gets her name dragged through the crap. Let it lie, man. The woman died years ago. There's not going to be another one, is there?
No,
How's
but
she anything like Princess Diana?
well,
She's not even from the country. Russia's fine, but she's nothing like her. Princess Diana was from like austerity, man. Like, she was super rich. Nothing like each other. Absolute crap.
okay. Well,
But carry on.
well, if you let me finish, because she did a lot of charity work. There's that famous thing that she went to a hospital and there were AIDS patients there and she was hugging them. And at that time, people were like, oh, you know what I mean? I don't know about that. And, they apparently, I don't want to sound cliche, but apparently they Harry and Meghan kind of bonded over their mutual love for charity. You know, he does the Invictus Games and stuff like that. So yeah,
I'm
that's
not being funny. Look, charity is good and great. I'm not going to decry it, but what else are these people going to do?
well. What does okay?
They're the royal family.
Because I mean, I was gonna save it for a little later, but like Kate Middleton. I mean, there's not one website that I don't go on where it doesn't where
Kate
they
Middleton anymore, though, is it?
where they're not being compared.
Windsor.
Okay,
Yeah, and they shouldn't be
maybe.
compared, though.
Yeah, but it's like,
They
oh,
shouldn't be
Meghan
compared.
versus Kate and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but Kate's always like, well, not always, because I know people are going to be like, oh yeah, there's a couple months or whatever, but she's like, for the past 4 or 5 years, she's been like pregnant most of the time. So I mean, I know she suffers with like heavy morning sickness and stuff like that. So I
Oh
mean,
my god.
she's
Who
kind of
cares?
but like so I mean, I'm just saying, you go on the websites of like Kate versus Meghan and stuff like that. Meghan's prettier and she appeals to me more, but like I mean, you know, people are going to be kind of doing that. One big thing as well, well, this isn't a big thing, but this is something I stumbled upon. This is a story that she's like very, very kind of like modern in the sense. I worded that wrong, but there's a story about how they were walking past a crowd and there was a fan who was like so happy to see him and like waving. And this is Meghan, by the way, if you weren't following, and they were all waving like, oh my god, this is amazing. I think this is in like after the announcement and stuff like that, and a fan was so gassed upon the sight of them that she dropped her glove, and then Meghan bent down, picked it up, gave it back to her. That's a big thing.
Oh, big whoop. She picked up a glove. Whatever.
I know it sounds. I know it sounds
It
crazy.
sounds ridiculous. Yeah, it does.
But yeah, apparently that's a kind of that's a big thing. I'm not mugging her off because I like her, and genetically, it works out for him because he's going bald. Now the kid that they have is going to have dark hair, dark eyes, and great hair, in my opinion.
Okay, I don't care what their kid's going to look like, and I don't know why you do.
Well,
Why would... I mean, what I'm more interested in is that... Yeah, go on.
Well, from a genetics standpoint, you've got to look at that. There's a because like William's going bald and Harry, I didn't want to believe this, but there has been a lot of thing in the news that you see him and you know, they're like all smiles and stuff like that, and then he turns round and I'm like, ooh, he's looking a little thin at the back. Now their union will from a genetic point of view, when they have a kid, I think the whole baldness gene is going to go from there onwards.
Well, that's not going to fix the royal family, though, is it? Their kid ain't going to be king or queen.
No, but
And
I'm just saying.
Where do we stand on having a hair transplant? Can the royal family do that?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. It's very organic, if you mind the pun. But like, I'm looking at William and his, like, if he has that, you're gonna know, like, the ship has sailed. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Harry could like wear a hat have it done, wear a hat for a while, and not take his hat off, and then it'll grow back naturally because his is thin, but it's not like, you know, William has got like a kind of like the Friars thing, like hair on the sides but none on the top, like the top's pretty much completely gone. I don't feel like he can completely shave it off because he's got a very thin head. So I mean, if he gets hair plugs, it's going to be obvious, but would you mug him off for getting hair transplants? To me, it wouldn't bother me.
I wouldn't.
I don't think it bothers him.
I wouldn't, yeah, but he doesn't have to get a hair transplant. If he's happy being bald, that's fine. I'm not trying to shame the man into doing it, but my question is, like, if it looked good, would I have a problem with it? No. My thing is, though, are we at a point where hair transplants do look good? Because I look at Wayne Rooney and I'm like, it just doesn't look right. It still doesn't look right. Yeah, Barry from EastEnders. Like, I'm sorry, it don't look right. It still doesn't. So are we at a point where you can get it done and not look like a mug? I think he might not look great as a bald bloke, but I think he'll look more like a mug if he got the hair done. It was a little weird.
No. I mean, because viewers are probably from other countries, I don't think they'll know that much about Barry from EastEnders. But feel free to Google it. But the thing with him is, he had his stuff done. He slicks his hair back. I saw him on Celebrity Big Brother. He slicks his hair back. Now, Wayne Rooney, his always had like clipped hair. It's been very short. Now, the thing, if you have a hair transplant, the way to go is put your hair forward as a kind of like pushing forward a little bit over your head, so it masks the hairline a bit, because it's always going to look high, if you know what I mean.
See, I don't know, because I remember I've seen, like, with Barry from EastEnders, when I've seen him, he hasn't done that, and it's like, it looks like a hairpiece.
Yeah, because
it looks like, I mean, it's hair, but it just looks like a hairpiece. I'm like, you're better off just staying bald, mate.
Yeah, but the problem is, what he could have done is, like, just put his hair forward and slicked it to the side, and then it wouldn't look so bad, because it kind of hides the hairline a bit. So I think that's the problem. If you push your hair forward, then it hides the hairline, so it don't look so bad. So anyway, back to the royal wedding thing. So yeah,
we could have talked about hair or baldness all day long. I had a whole Elton John thing, but let's go.
Apparently, I saw him on Graham Norton yesterday, and I was looking at some of the things, and I was like, oh, yeah, is that a transplant?
You see, the rug looks better now, doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
It looks better than it used to in the 90s, but I'm like, he hasn't had a hair transplant. He's been wearing wigs for years, but it just looked better now than it did before. But with what I would wonder with Elton John was, like, there was a point where he was bald and everyone knew it, and he didn't wear the wig, and then it just started.
But the thing is, if you watch...
That's always baffled me.
If you watch Graham Norton, and our American viewers, if you watched it on BBC America, again, he has his hair forward, doesn't he? You notice that he had his hair forward, so it don't look so bad. Short, tight to his head, and slick forward. So yeah, back to the... Apparently they got SAS training, William and Meghan. They William, Harry. I don't know
Harry,
what the rest is now. They get like SAS training and stuff like that, and I wonder what that's about, because I think
because anyone could attack him at any minute, and they need to be prepared for that. And also, wasn't Harry like some sort of soldier? I suppose he must have had some sort of training anyway.
Yeah, but like, really, the best, like, the thing is, if there's a thing, you got to duck and run. That's like the best thing to do.
I imagine, like, I haven't got the story in front of me, but I imagine that's basically what they were learning. I don't think they would have literally been trained as SAS members. They would have been trained for like an SAS like scenario. If this goes down, this is what you need to do. What we're doing this.
Could you imagine?
You know, like Meghan Markle ain't gonna bust out a gun and start taking mofos down. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, what would you like? Say something happened, God forbid, by the way, and like someone jumped over a thing and ran towards her, and she just did a roundhouse kick and knocked the guy clean out. Wouldn't that be like the coolest thing ever? But I don't think they trained it. I think it's just like, yo, keep something in your pocket.
Oh yeah, that would be dope.
And then,
no more Diana stories. Screw that. This one's way better. I'll be all for it.
And then, like, on a kind of seedier note, which I mean is expected to happen, because she was in Suits for how many other seasons, Pornhub searches for our racier scenes in her TV shows have skyrocketed, because people are because you know when William and Kate got married or engaged or whatever, there was always that picture of her at university where she was kind of wearing a sheer dress and you could kind of see through it a bit. There was always that picture knocking about and stuff like that. Yeah, but people kind of get gassed over that, and Meghan is a naturally very...
That's slightly I'm not encouraging it. I do think it's a bit creepy, but there is something slightly different about Meghan Markle being on a TV show and Kate Middleton being basically spied on in a dress or whatever. Like the same.
I think it was at a fashion show.
even still, but there was that one that went around where she was like in a house somewhere, and someone took a nude photo, or they got one of those really long lenses, like the paparazzi and whatnot. It's like, see, that's just creepy level.
Yeah, I know Harry sued whoever, not Harry, William got sued
Really?
whoever for that. I know
Yeah.
she has to be confirmed and baptized before the wedding. I know that as well, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another thing. So in terms of the
Still, yeah, I guess it's still like a Church of New England thing, isn't it? I think the Queen's the head of. I think it's the
head of
Church of New
state,
England. Yeah, but I mean,
whatever that means.
the head of state doesn't necessarily matter, but she's the head of the church. So, in order to be blah blah blah, I wonder how long that will last. But for now,
Yeah, so yeah, another thing as well I've noticed is there's a lot of like friends and family members who are, I mean, it's expected and stuff like that, but the thing with, I mean, if you're going to compare her and Kate, it was always like going to be them from the start, so she kind of come out of university or whatever, and then they kind of went from there, you know what I mean? But I think because she's been, I don't kind of know how to kind of state this properly, but she's kind of been doing her own thing for a number of years. There's a lot of people that have come out the woodwork and been like, oh, fame's changed her and stuff like that. And even with her like divorce and stuff like that, they're always like, oh yeah, she got married, and because she was up in Canada doing her TV show, the long distance between her and her husband, and apparently like when they divorced, it was like the rug was pulled from underneath him, but she wasn't that bothered, you know what? It wasn't like, I mean, she was affected, obviously. I mean, they're kind of trying to paint her as like cold and stuff like that, which I don't really think you can do, but she was less effective, and they're like, oh my god, that's like the worst thing ever. And a lot of like, because I know she's got like a half sister maybe, or a sister or something like that, who's kind of estranged from the family, and she's mudslinging and stuff like that, like, oh, blah blah blah.
yeah,
So,
that's all it is. Anyone now she's in the news, and you know what the British press is like. They'll go anywhere and hunt down a story that someone said to someone said to someone, so they can sell their bloody newspapers or get clicks on their site.
yeah, I think
That's how it works.
I think generally though, I think a lot of people kind of like her. I mean, I'm sold on her. I like her. So yeah,
It doesn't matter whether you like her. It's just it matters what the British press are going to do, and they'll be the ones that will decide how we feel about her, as always.
yeah. One thing as well that I was gonna bring up, but I seem to have lost it here, which is, oh yeah, there was like the big thing as well, because I mean, literally for the past, I didn't really believe it was going to happen, this royal engagement, for a while. You say it was moving fast, but for the past, I think 1 or 2 months, it's literally all I've heard about, when's Harry going to propose to her and stuff like that. And apparently he designed the ring himself, and there was like a big hubbub of that, of like, I was watching the ITV news, where like my next like big thing I'm going to talk about is, which is another thing as well, like they were like, oh, we didn't know Prince Harry was a ring designer, and they were getting super like amazed by that he designed the ring.
Oh, don't get me started. That does my nutting as well. That's why I can never do these like royal stuff wherever they cover it on TV. It's the same on the BBC when you got that Welsh guy, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he's the one that presents it, right? He's a presenter, and they get all these experts in, and they talk. You remember the last royal wedding? Like my mum was watching it, I was living home at the time, and I just had to shut myself away because it's all everyone talking about it like it was match of the day or something, all off from their insight, and they're bringing some no-mark woman to talk about everyone's fashion and what handbag they were. Oh, come on. That's all it's going to be. That's all that day is going to be. I'm avoiding it like the plague.
They were kind of doing that on Monday, but it was like there was like the woman presenting outside Kensington Palace, and I mean, you know, it's got to be freezing cold, and just standing out there, and she's just bringing people on like one by one to stand next to her and waffle. That's where the woman come on, was like, oh, I didn't know he was ring design. That to me sounds kind of fun, designing the ring, but they're going on about, I mean, yeah, it's like, look, I don't want to belittle it, but like, it's gonna literally be like, look, a diamond there, that looks good, and it's like, oh, won't we do this?
I'll belittle it. It's gonna be a load of crap. It's like, that last royal wedding on the BBC thing. It was like they got married, And then they cut back to the Welsh presenter and his gang of cronies, and they're sat there talking about what a great occasion it is for Britain, blah, 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 just killing all, and basically what they were doing was killing time, because William and Kate would come driving up to, I guess it was Buckingham Palace or Kensington Palace, whichever one it was, and then they come driving down the road, and for 2 minutes, like, oh, there they are, and they drive in, the gate's closed, and they cut back, and it was, oh yeah, there they are. And then it started going over the highlights of the day. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I think you got to look at it like, I don't want to be cynical, but it's like, look, you got a day off. It was literally, you got the day off to watch it. I don't care how you want to kind of beswaddle or, you know, kind of mix it up or stuff like that, but that's literally what it was. So, I mean, if we're going to kind of pull it back to ITV News, like, I was watching it, and to me, they're like, I don't know whether it was a biopic, but to me it was really weird. So I was standing in the doorway, I was watching it, and they were like, oh, he's marrying Meghan Markle. And they were like, oh, Miss Markle was born to a white father. And then they went off on another tangent, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't know like Europe, but they literally like made this big point. She was born to a white father. No mention of the mother and stuff like that, and then carried on another thing. I was listening to it for 5 minutes and was like, are we going to talk about the mother? But I was like, I was kind of shocked that they kind of made this big deal about her father being white. It's like, we know she's mixed race, and I know, you know, it kind of breaks the norm, as it were. I mean, it's one of the reasons why they're going on about her being this modern princess and stuff like that. But really, it's not an issue. I don't think that's ever really been like a thing. But like, I was just surprised that they just literally came out and was like, born to a white father. And I was like, are we going like? As if they actually just bluntly come out and said it. I was like, oh, Jesus. I mean, I much like now, I kind of laughed, and I was like, as if they just like so bluntly just said that. And it was like, oh, why not be like, oh, she was born to whoever Markle and whatever the mother's called. I mean, I was just really surprised. I mean, on the ITV News as well at like 6:30, they just literally just bluntly dropped that. So that was my kind of story from that. That was very shocking and surprising and stuff like that. I think it's a good thing because he's going bold and stuff like that. And I mean, whatever.
I think I don't care. What does it matter?
Yeah.
I don't. Why are we making a big deal over Prince Harry married anyway? Who cares?
I like him because to me he's more accessible.
I don't dislike him, but the point is, he's never going to be king, is he? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but to me, he's always been the funner one, because, I mean, another story apparently...
Yeah, but he can be, though, can't he? Because he's never going to be king, that's the point. It was the same with the Queen's sister, Princess... Was it Anne? Margaret? I can't remember. One of the two, but, yeah, the same thing.
She got a day off.
That was...
We got a day off for our wedding.
She did. Well, we weren't born, but that would have been nice. I'm sure our parents had a good day.
I'm pretty sure, like, that we got a permanent like day off for I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I mean,
you're crazy.
Going with the kind of fun thing and stuff like that I've always, apart from like a couple of incidents that may not have been fun or whatever, which I'm not going to...
Nazi costume.
I didn't want to bring it
up.
I didn't want to bring it up. Like, yeah, and the hotel, whatever, is kind of struck me as more of the fun one. So, I mean, I'm interested, like, I wonder, I don't want to be that guy, but I wonder if there's going to be, like, any celebrity guests at the wedding that, like, I'm not saying that we know, but we're aware of, because I know Stormzy and Sam Smith have been like, oh, we'd like to perform at the wedding and stuff like that. But, like, I think Prince Harry's quite connected and stuff like that, so I wonder, like, if there's going to be any, like, cool guests, because I don't think there was at, I mean, unless you kind of discount the Queen or whatever, I don't think there was any, like, really, like, guests that kind of would appeal to us, if you know what I mean, at the wedding, at the kind of Kate and Will's wedding. But I know Harry, like, socialises a lot, so I wonder if, like, what kind of celebrity guests will
I have no idea. I mean, I imagine they can invite whoever they want, but
yeah,
the thing is, with royal weddings, like, it's protocols. It's like, you know, the royal family, because they're all related and whatnot, most of them, like the royal family, is from all across Europe, and then assorted other people.
But I mean, like, celebrities, like, say, like, singers or like actors and stuff.
I don't know. Wasn't Elton John at The other one.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, unless there's kind of anything else, I know they're kind of making this big deal about her being super modern. One thing as well that I stumbled across.
I'm
Uh,
so sick of hearing that. It's doing my head in. We
what?
get it. She's young.
Mm.
She's young and mixed race.
I'm pretty. A
Hmm.
YouGov poll says that nearly half of Brits would object to a same-sex royal wedding.
I imagine they would, yeah, probably.
So that's a random story I stumbled across as well. I would not object to that. I think it'd be interesting. So yeah, that's everything I've got for the royal wedding. Engagement. Your thoughts? We're
I
si-
don't really care, but if everyone gets a day off, then cool.
well, it's going to be on a Saturday. It's 6 months away. Will you watch? I think it's going to be
No.
fun. I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, I mean, from moving on to that, our second bullet point would be Matt Lauer. Now he isn't. I wanted to kind of.
Okay, for the record, I'm not laughing at the crap he's supposedly done, but I am laughing at the fact I had no idea who this dude was until a couple of days ago, but his statement has been making me laugh since I read it. It's hilarious, but
Yeah.
go on.
So
We'll get to that in a second.
a brief rundown for anyone like my senior media analyst who's never heard of this guy until a couple days ago. Matt Lauer is an NBC host. He's kind of been,
Was.
yeah, was. He was the forefront of NBC for like 20 years. I mean, this guy was signing contracts of 25 million dollars per 2 years and stuff like that. And one thing as well, like NBC was so keen on keeping him and stuff like that, to kind of so he could spend more time with his family. They paid his helicopter bills. So if there was heavy traffic, he could just fly home to his family instead of being stuck on traffic. But, and I quote, he's an everyman, so don't be surprised if you saw him like on a turnpike sitting in traffic. It's like, look, if you know your company's going to pay your helicopter bill, you're going to be flying home every day, right? So I thought that was real convoluted. And it's kind of interesting as well how NBC jumped on that to throw out that statement that there's kind of like sinister undertones to that. Like when people started, I guess people must have like been like, oh, he gets to fly home and stuff like that. It's like, no, 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 trust isn't everyman. He only flies home every so often. I've no doubt he probably flew home all the time. So yeah, you want to bring up his statement, and then I'll bring up his alleged rap sheet, because from the report that I've read about the kind of inception leading, the first allegations, stuff like that, in my head alarm bells are ringing because I can smell a cover up. But you want to bring out his statement? Go ahead.
Well, we'll skip to the good. It rambles for a bit. We'll skip to the good part. It's like repairing the damage take a long time, a lot of time and soul searching, and I'm committed to beginning that effort. Okay, that's fine. It's now my full-time job. Yeah, mate, because your ass has got fired.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. It's like, I mean, this is the... I don't get it. It's like if all these statements are coming at the ones that are apologising, they're coming out saying the same thing. I've got to do some soul-searching. I've got... Like, mate, why didn't you do that before you were a creep?
Exactly. Like in my head, I'm thinking that's like it's really convoluted. Like what does that mean? I'm gonna do some soul searching, so if I ever slip up again, I'll make sure it's harder for myself to get caught. It's like nah. It's like the only
Yeah, even here, like part of the statement is like it's been humbling. Like, it shouldn't be humbling. You shouldn't be humbled.
exactly.
You should be looking at yourself thinking like I'm a douchebag.
Yeah, in any account, like with stuff like that, people always like kind of put it down to a philosophical thing. Like soul searching don't belong in that sentence. What he should do is he should apologize. Like clearly is admitting he's guilty to something, to whatever he's done, and been like, look, clearly I have like psychological issues, I need to go to, like Harvey Weinstein. It is in rehab at the moment. He's jumped ship, left the country, and gone to flipping rehab. Is lying low. That's what all of them should do. I don't get how, like, clearly they must have like like problems in the sense that they think they can go around doing this. He's abused his power, so he needs to go sit in an office and go talk to someone. They need to bring him back down to earth. In a sense, do you blame people for kind of being like, oh yeah, he's been held like high and mighty as being like so important to NBC, they're throwing money at him, they're doing this, they're doing that. Do you think in that way kind of perpetuate it being like, oh yeah, I'm so powerful, I'm untouchable? Do you think that perpetuates their kind of thing to go out and do it like, oh yeah, I'm Matt Lauer, I'm the cat's pajamas?
I think there's maybe that's part of his thinking, but I think it's dangerous to apply that to everyone. I don't think every rich and powerful person is a perv. You know, but I do think maybe this guy being, given the keys to the kingdom allows him to have a certain amount of leeway. We saw that with, oh God, who am I thinking of?
Harvey Weinstein.
Your man, Jim will fix it.
Oh,
no.
Savile.
Yeah, and the BBC. You know, he's such a star, apparently, that you can't just sweep it under the rug. I mean...
And it was keys to the hospital, not the castle.
Yeah, indeed. But what confuses me is, like, all this effort, and we don't know that NBC have covered anything up. But in terms of what you're telling me about the helicopter and the money, like, isn't this dude just like a news guy?
Yeah.
Like, you imagine Channel 4 doing that for, like, Jon Snow.
Mm.
Sort of take a seat back, but I mean, even in some of the statements here, like above it, saying we should clarify. He says some of what about me said about me is untrue or mischaracterized. So he is saying it's not all true.
Yeah,
just given the benefit of the doubt.
That's to cover himself in litigation and stuff like that. But yeah, so the original story, apparently, a woman who was with him in Sochi, the 2004 Winter Olympics or whatever, she was with him, and apparently something happened or whatever. Now this story was brought on the Monday to HR. She didn't go to any other media thing. She went straight to HR and brought it up, and less than a day later he was fired. So it's like that must have been some hell of a flipping thing she gave for them to literally, like, not suspend but to literally drop him one day after, because normally even in terms of whether they're thinking about suspending him, normally they and ah for a while. So now I'm sitting, that raises alarm
because the NBC statement said it was the first complaint that had been made about him, but it gave them an idea that maybe it happened
it wasn't an
more than
incident.
once.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because, right, so she goes into HR. Now, one or two well, there's multiple things that may have happened, but I'm going to kind of summarise them. She either went in there...
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. She either went in there and had such irrefutable proof that they were like, oh, that we have to fire him. But, like, in my head, I'm thinking that's either got to be pictures or video or something like that, because this one woman's statement and stuff like that just coming, it was either had to be so compelling, or she must have had, like, really big proof and stuff like that, or she went in there, dropped it, and then they thought, oh, this ain't the first time we've heard anything like that. Like, do you know, oh, someone's come and told us this thing, someone's told us that thing, someone's told us another thing, and it's like one more, and then really we have to do something, because if we sweep this under the carpet, allegedly, then it's really going to blow up in our faces as a network, you know what I mean? And or she would, because the kind of thing was she went to HR as opposed to media, was like, look, I'm bringing this to you, if you don't do something, I'm going to go to the main media, and then everyone's going to be like, the station and him are going to be like marked, as in I told NBC executives or HR or whatever this happened, they did nothing about it, And then that's why it kind of plays into this woman came to us and told us this, which made us think it wasn't an isolated incident. To me, that rings alarm bells, because I'm thinking that maybe allegedly other things were brought forward that they maybe just thought, whatever, and then they thought, actually, this is kind of building up now. That's what led to the such quick firing. Either it was crazy evidence, or maybe one or two things were brought to them that maybe they allegedly dismissed, and it kind of could snowball into something else.
Potentially, because there was, because they say it's the first complaint they received, but maybe if you read between the lines, they're saying it's the first official complaint, as in someone sat there and filled out a form and said he did this, and allegedly they've heard rumours, but no one's actually ever came forward and say to them, to the HR department, therefore now that someone has, they can make a move and get rid of him, because a lot of these networks and companies are at panic stations now, because Harvey Weinstein is going to take his company down with him. Bob Weinstein can do what he's like and the rest of the people, but
apparently
they'll never have
as well. Apparently Bob's...
Oh, it doesn't surprise me, does it? But they can do what they want of Weinstein, but they're not going to get the stink of it off, and he'll drag the company down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it's the same for all of them. If NBC sweep it under the rug, especially saying what you're saying about how much money they spent on keeping this guy, which still baffles me, then they're going to have to do it. Otherwise, they're tarred with the same brush.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's literally my thoughts on that with him, that kind of I smell something slightly funny about that, like the way they kind of brought that up.
This is the part. Yeah, this is the part on the statement here from NBC. While it is the first complaint about his behaviour in the over 20 years he's been at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident.
Yeah.
Well, then who's giving you that?
To me, that sounds it smells of spin. You know what I mean? They're using certain things like, oh yeah, I came and told you this about him however long ago, and it's, oh, that weren't official though. This is the first official.
Right, exactly. Because if you got one complaint, how have you got reason to believe it wasn't an isolated incident?
Yeah.
Unless what you're saying it's the same person, I assume it's a woman, but let's say person accusing him of doing it multiple times. In which case, can you really? I suppose you can fire him for that, I guess, if you choose to believe her.
Yeah, because one of his co-hosts, Katie Couric, who's like quite famous on American TV and stuff like that, like I think she was asked a question, and it was like, what annoys you the most about Matt Lauer? And she was like, oh, he pinches my bum a lot. And that was kind of, this was a while ago, and you know what I mean, like friendly and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, that's dangerous though, isn't it? Because let's take away, I mean, would I do that? No. But if they are friends, you take away this complaint you've heard about it, that could potentially be harmless.
Yeah, because that came out straight away. That literally came out straight away, and if you kind of add that up. So yeah, I mean, his wife left. His wife went to Holland and took the two kids with him. I think that was smart, because right now I don't think there's any kind of channel you can switch on, especially kind of news media and stuff like that, where his face ain't gonna pop up, you know what I mean? So I think it was smart that she took him out of the country. Whether she's dashing away, I don't know the state of his marriage or anything like that, or what she's gonna do or stuff like that. We know Weinstein's wife filed for divorce straight away. So yeah, apparently there was that thing that happened in Sochi or whatever. So apparently he gave one of his co-hosts, I mean, if you bring up the Katie Couric thing with the bum pinching and stuff like that, make of that what you will. Apparently he gave an employee a present, of which was a sex toy accompanied with an explicit note on how to use it. And then apparently one time a female employee came into his office. He dropped his trousers, exposing his phallus, and then I guess implied the employee to do something. She refused, and then he kind of went off on one at her about it for not doing anything. And apparently,
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. And then on numerous occasions, he'd quiz male and female employees about their say private lives in the bedroom, and then be like name swap, like in terms of like, oh, if you tell me who you've slept with, I'll tell you who I slept with, that kind of sort of stuff. And then just quiz men and women on certain things, like, oh, what do you like to do and stuff like that. So that's his alleged rap sheet already and stuff like that. So your thoughts?
It's like, I don't want to give people tips on how to be a creep, but like, what? Why would you do it at work? Like, if he's that rich and famous, dude, go out and find some other bird somewhere who definitely want to hook up with you because you're rich and you're famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it won't be that hard.
It's like,
there are some real shallow people out there, and I'm sure a lot of them are good looking. So go find them.
yeah,
Don't ruin your life by doing this in your place of work.
yeah. Apparently Bill O'Reilly was doing the same stuff as well, allegedly. Is in $13 million worth of litigation that is paid out, that he apparently, even though this is documented in Supreme Court affidavits and stuff like that, so whether it's alleged or not, but just so we don't get done, I'm going to say allegedly.
Cover our asses, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
allegedly as well. Apparently he he used to ring up employees and offer them like contributor stuff to his show, like, oh, I'll let you be a contributor, I'll get you a job, this, that and the other. And he used to ring them up and like be doing stuff on the phone to himself, and like apparently kind of stuff like that. And it's like, these guys are kind of, because it cost Bill Riley $13 million, it's like, why wouldn't you just go to a hooker? Why wouldn't you just go to a hooker, be like, look, sign this thing, blah blah blah, that you can't talk about it, and I'll swing you what, even 10 grand, you know what I mean? You're going through about what, 1,000 hookers before you even come close to the money you had to pay out. They ain't gonna say anything and stuff like that.
Or even
it's just
find one you really like and keep them on the payroll.
Yeah, it's like these to me, allegedly what they've done and what they haven't done strikes me as like kinky guys that are like, oh yeah, I could go to a hooker, but I want a quote unquote real woman, so I can kind of like, it is more of a thrill, if you know what I mean. So I think there's a lot of that going on, because you have to be like, you've got to have some serious chutzpah or balls about you to just drop your trousers in your office and just like go up to these guys like, oh yeah, what have you been up to in the bedroom, and in public in front of people. You've got to have some kind of chutzpah to go and do that. It's like, and not be embarrassed.
Maybe, and that's also a point where abuse of power does come into it. That is something that's been thrown around a lot. I think it may be a bit too much, but this is where it really does come true, because if you're in such a position that you really do think you can just walk around and ask people that, and nothing's going to come of it, which it didn't,
yeah,
then that is that you are abusing your power.
Yeah, and nothing would.
Because that's not why he got fired. Asking people about that isn't why he got fired. So clearly he was abusing a ridiculous position of power he had, which still baffles me. Maybe that's just how like, news works differently in America. I just can't believe this dude would pay so much money to be a bloody news anchor.
He must be pulling in a hell of money as well. So yeah, that's everything I've got on him. If we kind of move on to other kind of the sexual harassment thing more broadly, apparently
the story that won't die.
Yeah, apparently Bette Midler accused Geraldo Rivera, who's another Fox News guy, along with Bill Riley's already been done for that.
Bette Midler?
Yeah, do you know who she is?
Yeah, the actress. But I mean, without being disrespectful, she's like proper old. Was
Yeah,
this like?
I think this was a while ago. Accuses Geraldo Rivera. He's kind of like I think he was a chat show host, and now he kind of contributes to news stuff of sexual harassment and apparently drugging and groping her. To which he's apologised, but still, it's like, is that an admission of guilt to kind of anything like that?
Yeah.
We know he's apologised to her, but is he going to be like, I'm sorry, but yeah, I may have like groped her inappropriately, but the drugging stuff that never happened and stuff like that, because it's always like, is that stuff's always kind of like very vague and stuff like that. So he's apologised, but whether he comes out and was like, oh yeah, I specifically did this, that, or the other, is still kind of up in the air. Russell Simmons, the CEO of Def Jam, the music label, he's stepped down from his position after being accused. And that's kind of it for that. You've got Angela Lansbury. She came out and said that, you know, that maybe some of the people who whatever kind of knew what they were getting into, if you know what I mean. Like, if you look at the Harvey Weinstein thing, like, oh yeah, if you do this, I'll get you a job and stuff like that. I know it happened with Bill O'Reilly as well, because apparently allegedly, he offered people like contributorships and jobs and stuff like that, and if they did this, that, or the other, and never actually kind of, you know, came through on it or stuff like that. So she came out and said it, but she said her comments were kind of taken more at face value, and she wasn't like, you know, referring to everyone like that, but she was kind of like, maybe some of them knew. I mean, a lot of people, maybe, I think anyone who that's happened to and hasn't come forward because maybe they've been like, oh yeah, whatever happened, but I got this out of it, so it's not a big deal, were maybe along them lines, if you know what I mean. I think that's maybe...
It's a complicated issue. I should I say? Yeah, if her point is some of them did it willingly to get a role and they were happy to do it, I don't put her wrong. I'm sure there are some of them out there, but the fact is this dude's been accused of rape, and so really keep your mouth shut and let him get set down for it if he's guilty.
Yeah. Tom Hanks has come out and said it's not...
Oh, no.
No, he ain't done anything.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean...
What, Tom Hanks?
Fingers crossed. He's come out and said it's not too late to change behaviour.
What does that mean?
Like, it's not too late to kind of... Because I think the whole of Hollywood's kind of been... Now it's been tarred. Everyone's kind of looking left to right, like who's next, who's going to be accused next, and not just Hollywood, celebrity, the kind of celebrity franchise as a whole. So I think it is coming out to himself and thinking, he's come out and said, look, it's not too late to kind of change the image that not everyone out there is kind of perverse or whatever. I think that's his kind of statement.
Yeah, I suppose he's not wrong, but this is going to be the atmosphere for a while now.
Definitely.
It's not going to go away.
Anthony Rapp, the Kevin Spacey accuser, apparently he's kind of getting flack from, I guess, House of Cards fans, which is dumb, or Kevin Spacey fans, however many of those are left, for being the reason why House of Cards has like been cancelled. That's dumb.
Has it been cancelled officially?
I think so. I don't think there's anything any more being put into production. I know it's completely out of it and stuff like that. So I'm sitting there.
Last I heard, they were trying to like rework it in a similar way to that Transparent show is trying to do with Jeffrey Tambor. Now he's left that show. They're trying to find some way of reworking it. I think they might try to make Claire, like Robin Wright's character, like the lead or something, but it's definitely left. But Andy Rapp's getting stick for that.
Yeah, I think that's unfair, because it's not like he's the only one who's come out. There's been a lot of people who've kind of come out, but it's like the die-hard fans who were like, even though he's done this, that, and the other, you know what I mean, they're still gonna, for some reason, stay loyal to Kevin Spacey, even though whatever. So I don't get that. There was some... Oh, Jeffrey Rush, the British actor. I guess
Oh yeah,
people
yeah.
will recognise him from
He's an Australian actor, but he
oh,
was
is
in
it Pirates of the
yeah, yeah,
Caribbean
yeah. He was in
as
Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in the King's Speech and whatnot.
oh yeah. So apparently he's been accused of stuff. So you know more about the story than I do. I just know he's been
Yeah,
accused.
I don't really know what the accusations are, and I know he um, has denied all charges, but on what?
Se- misconduct, I'd say, to kind of, because it's a fairly new breaking story. So I mean, the fact is denied it and stepped down. Hell's question marks. Right, so it's kind of not clear what is actually done. All we know is that it's kind of resigned. So yeah, that looked like you're
Yeah,
gonna.
I mean that's the long no, that's the long and the short of it. We don't know what he's really been accused of. We don't know whether he's done it or not. He's certainly not put a blanket apology like a few of these guys. So he still fastly refuses to acknowledge that he's done anything wrong. Perhaps he hasn't, but he's, I guess, chosen to resign to take attention away.
Yeah, that's interesting. Apparently, Pamela Anderson's also come out and said people knew what they were doing in terms of, I guess, advancing careers in return for, I guess, sexual favours and stuff like that. Also, a kind of big story as well that I don't think's massively being reported on. That apparently, because it's kind of I guess hard for victims in these circumstances to kind of rehash their stories after kind of stuff that's happened. Apparently the Harvey Weinstein criminal kind of case has kind of ground to a halt as well, because I think a lot of these people, whether they don't want to kind of talk about it or they're finding it hard and stuff like that, to kind of get testimony and stuff like that, but at the minute it's kind of grinding to a halt with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a kind of big thing coming out of that. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the whole harassment scandal celebrity kind of thing. So yeah,
For now, sadly, I suppose. By next week, you'll have plenty more to go off of.
yeah,
If it continues at the rate it is at the moment. I mean, maybe that isn't sad. Maybe it's good these people. I guess it's good these people are getting called on it. It's a shame there's so many.
I agree. So that kind of brings me to a Trump update.
Oh God.
So the tax bill, which is a huge victory for him, got passed in the Senate with 51 votes to 49, so very close there. But I think a lot of people were swayed because I think amendments were put into it that certain senators kind of wanted put in for protections, and then that obviously helped kind of assert them to pass it. So effectively there's going to be a $1.5 trillion reduction in tax bills. The corporation tax is being slashed from nearly half, from 35% down to 20%. Temporary cuts in individual tax rates. I know that there's temporary things till 2026 for tax rates for people earning under $75,000. It will add maybe conservatively, there have been kind of polls and stuff like that, there may be $1 trillion will be added to the national debt, and I know that put off a lot of people, and apparently a mandate in there as well as opening the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge for oil drilling as well. So I mean, a big victory for Trump. I mean, time will tell with tax cuts and stuff like that. I know a lot of people are coming out and saying, oh, it's kind of making rich people wealthier, and whether it's going to kind of be that much of a help to the middle class, in which it claimed to be, is kind of up in the air. So for now, a victory for Trump. Also, the Michael Flynn investigation I think a deal was negotiated for his testimony, that in return that he is kind of immune from any prosecution. And I think that extends to his son as well, who's working with him. But apparently he's admitted to giving false testimony to the FBI. And the president assures that while that was done outside of whatever, apparently the Obama administration actually gave the go-ahead for Michael Flynn to go into negotiations with whoever he was at the time, so they were aware of it. Whether Donald Trump was or not, we don't know, but apparently senior members of the transition team are probably going to get brought into it, and people are trying to build an obstruction of justice case towards the kind of senior people in the transition team at the time, which isn't limited to Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump's husband, and apparently the president himself. So at the moment, that's a kind of big story, I guess. A lot of kind of Democrats and liberals are kind of looking at that at the moment to kind of yield results. The president is still kind of coming out and saying there was no collusion. I don't want to kind of get personal in it, just kind of reporting, but still there kind of hasn't been any like solid proof or anything like that. So I mean the range of testimonials and stuff like that given by Mike Flynn going forward could shine some light on it. But yeah, he's definitely admitted to giving false testimony to the FBI. So yeah, and apparently Hillary Clinton went on Mary Beard's show and said she would have loved to tell Trump to get away from her when I guess he was kind of creeping behind her during the debates. I mean, she said this on a number of things. She went on Graham Norton and said it, and it's like, why didn't you just say it then? Why, like, months later are you coming out saying, oh, I would have liked to have done this, I would have liked to do that? Why didn't you do it? It would have made you look better. So yeah, that's the Trump update. Also, a big thing.
Well, because I mean, I imagine it's the case of a lot of these people don't really run their own campaigns, do they?
No.
She's not the one making that decision. It's whoever the campaign manager is.
The Democratic National Convention. Which apparently
whatever you want to call it,
pulling the strings, because those were the ones who kind of diddled Bernie Sanders out of her thing, which obviously there's a book coming out by the chair of the DNC at the time, which whether it's out now or coming out, where it kind of details how apparently they kind of stiffed Bernie Sanders. So yeah, Bitcoin update during the week, it kind of rallied over $10,000, I guess, in comparable to one Bitcoin. So I know there's been a big thing on cryptocurrency at the time, but Bitcoin's kind of spiked at the moment, and I know in terms of futures and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of potential in terms for Bitcoin. It looks like you have...
I don't even know what he's saying right now. Bitcoin, crypto.
Yeah, it's
like the dog.
No, it's kind of a cryptocurrency that, like, you use. A while ago it was kind of synonymous with the criminal dealings, allegedly, because it can't be traced. You know, if you take money from your account and send it to someone else, like say I want to give you a tenner, I'll send it from my account to your account and it can be traced, but cryptocurrency to some degree can't be traced. So there's a lot of things going. So like one Bitcoin.
I thought you were putting me to sleep with the Trump stuff. I was wrong.
one Bitcoin is relevant to 10,000 US dollars and stuff like that. So there's like you know, like with bytes and stuff like that, like however many bytes make up a megabyte, kilobyte, and gigabyte. It's kind of like that in different kind of stuff like that. So I guess it's kind of easy to use and less traceable. So it's kind of getting some traction, you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, stuff like that. So yeah, that's the kind of, you know, politics and economics update and stuff like that. So that brings our first podcast to an end. Any last comments you want to make?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, so thank you all for listening. We'll draw, I think about this page, there's probably a banner up. There's gonna kind of, the Facebook page and any other, because we do have a podcast we run in another channel, the Superhero Hub, that's kind of more pop culture, comic book, TV reviews and stuff like that we do as well. So if you like that, feel free to give that a look. We do a podcast on that along these lines, but it's more kind of comic book news and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, or you like our flow and delivery, if you want to check that out, feel free. So yeah, we'll see you next time. At the minute, scheduling at least one a week. Maybe some more, because I feel like this went really well, depending on the news and stuff like that, breaking stories. So yeah, I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon, I guess, hopefully. Bye.
We'll work on the wrap up too.